And we're back with another edition of the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glass from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. I'm here along with my good friend, the man, the myth, the legend behind Humanican Media, and the man behind Ghost Toasters, several podcasts, and my goodness, an author as well. Where does this guy find time to do all this stuff? It's Josh Pederson. How are you, my friend?
Hello, I'm good. To answer your question, I don't have time for a lot of this stuff. I don't sleep.
There you go. And you're actually, like me, in process, almost finishing up. Well, actually, I'm a little bit ahead of you on the top 25 list that will be coming hopefully this week. Keeping my fingers crossed to popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. So definitely looking forward to that indeed on sharing our ideas. And after it goes up for a few days, we'll actually be able to talk about it on the air in an upcoming episode as well. So once again, this is the Pop Culture Cosmos Show, the number one podcast on the Podcast Radio Network. We truly appreciate you listening out there. If you can't catch us for some reason, every Monday night, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on the Podcast Radio Network. Hey, we're also on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, podcast.com, also as well, the ESO Network, the Tangent Bound Network, the Gonna Geek Network. And if you get the Mixcloud channel, that one we throw a bonus episode right after the Pop Culture Cosmos show airs on that channel as well. So we're on all those different download channels. So there's no reason you can't get us each and every week on, well, the Pop Culture Cosmos show. It's a great episode we have for you today. We're going to be talking a little bit later on the Nintendo Switch. We're also talking a little bit also about the Wonder Woman movie coming up and our hopes for that, and some other great stuff as well. And then we also got can you tell me a little bit more, Josh, about the band that we've got that I'm going to play a little bit tune to that you turned me on to last week and we're going to play on this week's episode?
Yeah, sorry, which one were we talking about? I know I sent you two musicians. Was it
Mio or Mayo? Oyo. The one with, what is it? Reveal.
Oh, got it. Yeah, Moy. Yeah, Moy Navarro. Close enough. Yeah, Moy Navarro. He's a musician, kind of little 90s style music. It's I know him personally. He writes music for Disney, and he does. He's a very talented guy, and he's in the process of writing more music. And I thought, hey man, let me get your stuff out there to the world a little bit more. So you got a little bit of platform to jump off of, and he's very talented. So I hope you guys enjoy the music.
Absolutely. So we'll be playing his music a little bit later on coming up, but right now we're going to talk a little bit about the movie universes that are potentially coming on the horizon for movie fans out there. And well, this weekend had a nice debut for Kong Skull Island. It exceeded expectations, about a little bit over $60 million. It did domestically here. Did also pretty good overseas. Nothing earth-shattering, mind you, but pretty good overseas. Still, China is still yet to go as far as to gauge their interest in Kong Skull Island. But what's been talking about with Kong Skull Island and the fact that it now is going to tie itself in to a movie universe with Godzilla, and hopefully it has not been confirmed one way or the other, but hopefully Pacific Rim as well. So I ask you, Josh, in regards to this particular possible movie universe scenario, what are your thoughts on it? Is it something that you would be interested in? And also as well, is it something that you think that fans are going to go and see over the course of a period of 1, 2, 3, 4 extended movies?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is like an opportunity for people to go to the movies and not really have to think about anything. They can just, if you said, hey, do you want to watch Godzilla and King Kong beat the crap out of each other? I'd be like, yes, please take me there. And same thing with, like, that's why I love Pacific Rim so much. giant robots fighting giant monsters. I mean, that's like every kid wants to see something like that. So as far yes, I think there'll be an audience for it, and I think that as far as combining the franchises go, I think that's it's like taking two trips to the movies and putting it into one. So yes, I think that will be very successful. Whether or not it's going to see Marvel numbers, probably not. But
well, but that's one thing I want to ask you, because King Kong seems to be doing about the same level of admiration as, say, the Pacific Rim series did, where it made some money, but the cost of the production was so high, it was for a long time in doubt as far as whether or not the series would continue. And I see that same thing going on and with Kong Skull Island. Unless something dramatically happens in the Chinese market, I see it maybe possibly, earning its production budget back, maybe doing a little bit more, maybe ending up just like pretty much in that same realm as Pacific Rim. So I don't see that going to the next level as far as into that super blockbuster status like you were talking about with Marvel, but I'm not even sure if I see it kicking up a notch as far as maybe into the DC numbers. So do you think it needs to go there for the series to be successful, or do you think it's just fine as is?
No, I mean, you don't need to take you don't need to take the movie. It doesn't have to be like a big Marvel type opening to get people to want to go watch it. I think that with like I said last week, I think that Kong Skull Island is the movie that people don't yet know they want to watch. I think that now that the reviews are coming in and they're fairly positive, I think that people are going to go out and watch it even when DVD sales come around. But you have to remember, China, they love those kinds of movies over there. They love the monster stuff, as made apparent by the Great Wall. So we can't really count anything out right now. I don't think you don't need Marvel numbers to kick off a combined universe, but you do need obviously you do need an audience. But it's not. I don't think it's not without a chance of success. I think that combining these two movies together, creating your own joint universe it's a good idea for movies like this, especially like you were mentioning. It's a lower opening, but if you were to combine them, I think that's would get people's attention. That would make them, because how many times have we seen King Kong rehashed over the years? Like 3 or 4?
Yeah, and I know the Peter Jackson film actually kind of left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths because it was just pretty much a updated remake of the old classic, which I'm not sure many people really wanted to see.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like it's off to a disadvantage already, but now that the reviews are coming in, we'll see, because you have to. It's only opening weekend, so I mean, it still has plenty of time to kind of make some money, but you will just have to wait and see. I think that and even if it doesn't do well in theaters, I guarantee you that people are going to pick it up, watch it on DVD, digital, Redbox, whatever it is, and I think it's not going to be the failure that Peter Jackson's King Kong was.
But I think what would interest a lot of people more, I think, is what you were alluding to as well, is a universe that ultimately has Godzilla facing a King Kong, maybe facing a Rodan, facing also the armored mechs from Pacific Rim. And I think that to me, I would go. I'm going to tell you right now, if they did something like that where it's a battle royale like that, oh my gosh, then you can just count me in as far as front and center in the movie theater. But separate entities as is, I think Pacific Rim is the only one right now to me that catches my eye, that I think I have to go see it. Maybe you're right as far as Kong Skull Island, now that it's out in theaters and it is garnering positive reviews. Let's hope that continues, because a movie universe combined with all those entities would be really cool too, as far as from a spectacle standpoint.
Right, and on the opposite sorry, on the opposite side of that coin, though, it is going to be very expensive to make. So you have to make sure that these numbers are in a safe space to be able to predict that, yes, we're gonna at least make back a portion of what we dump into this movie. But as far as a Pacific Rim versus King Kong, that would be awesome. Yes, that would be like every kid's dream would be to watch something like that. But I think logistically there might be a problem as far as like timeline goes. I know they can just, you know, fudge some words or something and make it possible, but it would be cool. Whether or not they go forward with it, we'll have to wait and see, because they're talking about it, but they haven't really given us a lot of detail on what is going into these worlds.
If they can resurrect the Gladiator series like Ridley Scott was talking about the other day, then they'll pretty much do anything. And I really think at this point, a battle royale, as I said before, between all those entities would really be sweet indeed. Another battle royale that would really be awesome to watch in the theaters would be something in the neighborhood that what I believe Universal is coming up with. And it's going to start off really with The Mummy, that's coming out later this year in the summertime with Tom Cruise and all that, but also an appearance by Russell Crowe as Dr. Jekyll and possibly even Mr. Hyde. So I ask you this question, with the possible intentions that Universal has already alluded to with making their own universe with Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, the Mummy, possibly even throwing, you know, a Dracula scenario in there, the Wolfman, and all those other monster characters from older lore and whatnot. So I ask you, is this something that you think is going to garner a large audience as well? And what steps can they take and follow maybe solid franchises that are out there like the Marvel Universe, like the Lord of the Rings universe, like even the Fast and Furious universe? What steps can they learn from those franchises so that they won't fall flat and become just an afterthought with moviegoers?
It's funny that you mentioned those three series, because those are three completely like different examples. Like Marvel is cool because people love superheroes. They love seeing the superheroes together. Whereas Lord of the Rings is cool because people love that fantasy universe that Tolkien created. They love the Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit, and it's really just a great movie franchise to escape into. Whereas, and then you have Fast and the Furious, which is on like a completely different level, probably lower, a lot lower than the other two. And people watch it just because they like train wrecks and they just like to watch these trains crash. And so that's where Fast and the Furious is. But
they love to see these car stunts and all the car racing. I mean, it's because it's all about the cars with Fast and Furious.
Yeah, but where you have Marvel and Lord of the Rings, it's all about story. Fast and the Furious has absolutely no story. They just like to see the crashes, the one-liners. They like to see Vin Diesel fighting The Rock. It's not really like, they don't go to it to be emotionally like, tugged on the old heartstrings. So they can take things from each of them. But as far as Universal goes, I don't think that it's not going to get the numbers that Marvel does, unless it's like, absolutely just the greatest movie to ever come out. But I think they can take a lot. Like they can learn a lot from the Lord of the Rings series as far as like fantasy goes. And I think they just have to be smart. It's not really, there's no like right or wrong way to go about it. They need to be consistent. Like I loved Dracula Untold, but I think at the end of that movie, the writing got really lazy. So they have to have something solid and don't try to shove all it. Like you were mentioning, Dr. Jekyll might be in The Mummy, and I'm really excited to watch that movie personally. They don't. I'm hoping they don't have like an Amazing Spider-Man scenario where they try to put all these people into this movie so they can introduce them into further movies down the line. Because there's a history of that happening and it not working out for the people who are making these movies.
Because it comes across as them being shoehorned into the film, correct?
Shoehorned, yeah, and they're taking away, like, a script can only be so many pages, and by doing something like that, they're taking away valuable storytelling space to say, hey, we all know that there's another movie coming out. So if you're like shoving a character in there and he doesn't really like have any purpose being in there, what is the point of it besides like saying, oh, hey, this is going to exist further down the line? There's no, I think a lot of people don't like that because there's no reason for it. And they would rather have like in Spider-Man 3, I absolutely hated that movie, but I feel like it would have been with Tobey Maguire, if they would have not like wasted all that time with all these like, all the villains and the whatever the things that made it bad, there could have been a better story told there. And that's the lesson that that's the most important lesson that Universal needs to take when busting out a franchise like this.
definitely some deep thoughts there. Excellent wording. I couldn't agree with you more on a lot of that. They do have to be careful because the budgets for all these films are going to be high. They're well above 100 million each on that. I cannot see a scenario when with any of them getting like the cut rate, John Wick type budget and being able to try and work something with that. That's unfortunately not going to be the case because they're all going to have heavy on the CG and all that. So it's not going to be a very good scenario if they don't come out and perform. So I couldn't agree with you more on that. They're both franchises that I definitely would like to see. If any of you out there want to share your thoughts on some of the movie franchises that are potentially in the works, we're not sure if they're going to be done yet because it's all based on your input as far as with your wallet and also going to the theaters. So I want to hear your thoughts as far as these potential franchise movie universes. Just send us a line, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com, or you can contact us at popculturecosmo on Twitter, also Humanican Media on Facebook, and Humanican Media on Twitter. And then also, if you like, you can send us also a message at the the Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page. And if you like the Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page, from now till March 18th of this year, 2017, you will be in the running for a grand prize of a copy of Mass Effect Andromeda. PC, PS4, Xbox One, your choice. It's going to be a grand prize. We're going to one winner of a copy, brand new copy of Mass Effect Andromeda. So that's something definitely to look forward to indeed. And speaking of Humanica Media, I wanted Josh, before we head on out to listen to some Moy, as far as telling what's going on. Let's actually want to ask what's going on with Humanica Media and all the great things that you got planned and going on. I know there's some updates you want to enlighten everybody with on Humanica Media. Humanica Media.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in the work here. Coming this week, we have a brand new episode of Super Bro Station Gamescast, which you will be able to hear a little bit out on this episode or next episode. Okay, this episode. And then we also have What About This premiering tomorrow night at 7, but you will also be able to hear some of that on the Pop Culture Cosmos. So
a little bit of a sneak peek there for you. So we'll be coming up in today's podcast.
A little bit of a sneak peek. And those right now, those are the two most consistent podcasts that we have, and we're working on getting you guys some more material. As always, we appreciate it. And like Gerald was saying, make sure you check out the Pop Culture Cosmos page and give it a like, because you will win, not guaranteed, but you'll be entered to win a physical copy of Mass Effect Andromeda.
We don't have enough copies if we do that.
Hey, we would, though, because we love you guys. If we could afford it. But
if we could afford it. But it's one grand prize winner for a copy of Mass Effect Andromeda.
Just know that those of you who don't win a copy of it, we could still, shower you in our appreciation.
Absolutely. We definitely appreciate everyone who likes the page, Humanican Media or Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. You want to check both out because they've always got great stuff going on there. Latest pop culture news, also updates on everything that Josh is doing and everything that we're doing here at Pop Culture Cosmos as well. So just wanted to say it's going to be a great show. Again, we've got a lot of stuff lined up for you. Again, What About This will be sampled on today's show. We're going to talk a little bit more about, like I said, Nintendo Switch, Wonder Woman, some great things indeed. And then we're also going to talk about Game of Thrones and also Thor Ragnarok as well. So we got a big show lined up for you, and also going to have another CES interview with Dog and Bone. So look out for that as well. It's a great show for you. But first, we've got coming up right now, it's the latest song from Moy. It's Reveal. And it's right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos show. This is going to be our last segment of the broadcast. We truly appreciate you staying with us and listening to us. It's the Pop Culture Cosmos Show. Truly appreciate you listening to everything we've got for you going on today's show. It's been a great show indeed. We just truly appreciate you listening. Once again, it's also the Pop Culture Cosmos Show every Monday night, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on Mondays. And then if you can't get the show for any reason, iTunes, Stitcher, podcast.com, TuneIn, Google Play, also the ESO Network, the Gunna Geek Network, and the Tangibound Network as well. And if you want to check out our Mixcloud channel, you can check us out there, and they always throw the bonus episodes on our Mixcloud, give you something a little special there indeed. And then also check out the top debuting show on the Podcast Radio Network, the PCC Multiverse, every Friday night. That's Friday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, drive home time for a lot of people out there. Want to check it out on the Podcast Radio Network. We got a lot of great stuff going on there each and every Friday, a lot of great samples from all the other shows, plus great talk from Josh and I and all of our guests that do appear regularly on the show as well. And then if you cannot hear it for some reason there, hey, we're on all those same download channels as well. And I know a lot of Humanican Media stuff is going up as well. Josh, tell us about where all the channels are going for as far as Humanican Media is concerned. Where are all those shows going to, and how can they listen to all the great stuff at Humanican Media?
Yeah, right now we're kind of all over the place. You can listen to, follow Humanican Media on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We also, the What About This podcast is available on Podbean, Mixcloud, YouTube, Facebook, and iTunes. And then the rest of them you can check out on YouTube, Facebook, and podcast.com. And I'm working on getting the rest over to iTunes here shortly. And as for the What About This podcast, fun thing about that is if you follow them on Twitter at WAT_podcast and you send them questions, they will actually answer your questions during the podcast. So these guys, go ahead, send them something complicated. Okay, they love to think about stuff. So yeah, and we appreciate all the support. Obviously, the more that you guys support us at Pop Culture Cosmos and Humanican Media, the more fun stuff that we get to get into and deliver to you guys. Press coverage straight from the floor of all these great events that we hope to get invited to someday.
Indeed, like CES beforehand, and also the Level Up Expo coming up later in Las Vegas, coming up in May. A lot of great things as well to look forward to. Also want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors one last time for today's episode. That would be Retro City Games. Check them out, Retro City Games on Facebook for all your retro gaming needs. They're the leaders of gaming in Southern Nevada and pretty much anywhere else because they just carry a whole bunch of great stuff. Rob McCallum Films, robmccallumfilms.com for all the latest info on all the great things from, hey, even one of the best documentaries of 2015, which was Nintendo Quest. There's still a lot of great updates that he still posts on that because there's a lot of great things that are happening for that particular film, plus also the bonus coverage, which is the Power Tour, which took place later on in 2016 when they were going ahead and shopping that all around in 2015, 2015, when they were going ahead and traveling all around, showing off the wonderful film. A lot of things that they captured on film, and that's garnered a life of its own indeed. And then also a lot of the great films that he's already worked on as well. Missing Mom, the Kitty documentary that's still coming up, the Masters of the Universe, and so much more. Check it out, robmccallumfilms.com. And then Always Green, Synthetic Turf, and Putting Greens. If you are in the Orange County area, and even in the Los Angeles County area, because I know he's talked about, as far as on their website, agsgreen.com, that's agsgreen.com, about going pretty much anywhere in Southern California to take care of your home and beautify it even more with a nice synthetic lawn, either front, back. They also do a lot of landscaping and things of that nature. So you want to check out their site, agsgreen.com, or stop by their Huntington Beach store at Always Green, Synthetic Turf, and Putting Greens. It's always a great place to go indeed. So I wanted to talk to you. Have you had a chance to see the latest Wonder Woman trailer?
I did. I actually just watched it before getting on the air here.
What were your thoughts on it? Because that one is a more descriptive point A to point Z type scenario as it gets seemingly closer to its June release.
It looks good. It looks kind of, it reminds me a little bit of Captain America, the first Avenger, just the tone of it all. I think that
one of my favorite Marvel films.
See, I think we disagree on that.
One of my favorite Marvel films.
One of Gerald's favorite Marvel films. No, I mean it looks beautiful. Just like the set pieces, everything from like the Amazonian areas, that all looks really cool. It looks like it has a bit of like that Fantastic Beast and Where to Find Them tone, like when they're walking through the office buildings and stuff. It looks definitely more aesthetically pleasing than the other WB, or not WB, but DC property trailers that I've seen. It doesn't look, it still has that like dark film look to it, but I don't know, something about it gives me hope for the rest of the franchise. This is like they're kind of starting it over and like, okay, you guys, we messed with you for a while and we apologize. The joke's over now, but here is the beginning of something great. And I don't know what else to say about it, but like it looks cool. I think Chris Pine plays the part really well. So is Gal Gadot, and I want to know more about the villain. Is he like Red Skull or what's the deal with him? But those are my thoughts on it.
It looks very promising indeed. I really have high hopes for the film. It definitely looks like something like it's a step in the right direction for Warner Brothers, especially with the Justice League also coming out later this year. So that will breathe some new life into that film. I think a lot of pressure is riding on Wonder Woman to succeed because of what has happened in the past. How can you say 600, $700 million films like BVS and Man of Steel and Suicide Squad, how can you say that a lot of pressure should be riding on Wonder Woman? Well, unfortunately it is, because those films did not meet the entire expectation quota that I'm sure Warner Brothers wanted to meet, and it just really looks like now that a lot of people have kind of soured on the franchise at this point in time. But with what we have seen so far of Wonder Woman, it looks like that can all change, and it really just all the time. A lot of the times in Hollywood, all it takes is just one movie to make things happen and make things happen in a big way. And this could be not only one of the biggest hits of the summer, could be one of the big surprise hits of the entire year. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. It is definitely something that's going to be on my radar because it just looks like something that's very promising to me. Gal Gadot, and also as well Robert Pine. It's not Robert Pine. Chris Pine. That's Robert Pine. It's his dad from Chips. Chris Pine is looking very. Those two as a combo look like they're going to have really good interplay with each other, and I just really am hopeful for the franchise indeed, because it definitely looks like something that a lot of fans can get into rather than what they were seeing with BVS, and it's so dark and gray and depressing. And many accounts in Suicide Squad was just really just not a well-made movie at all. So definitely looking forward to Wonder Woman as far as revitalizing the DC movie franchise. Well, if you want to share your thoughts on Wonder Woman as far as what your prospects are for it, if it's something that's really going to click with audiences, or if it's something that you think is also going to fall even further for the DC movie franchise, the DC movie franchise, just want to share it, you can let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, let us know on our Facebook page, Pop Culture Cosmos or Humanican Media. And if you like the Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page, you can be in the running if you enter by March 18th, and all you have to do is just like that page, Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, and you can be in the running for a grand prize of Mass Effect Andromeda. So that's something definitely to look forward to indeed. Josh, any last thoughts on Wonder Woman and the DC movie universe on the way out? Sharing your thoughts about today's episode, because we talked about a lot of various things, but I wanted to make sure you got your full thoughts on Wonder Woman there as far as where it can go and what it can do for the DC movie franchise.
Yeah, I mean we keep comparing things to like Marvel, and I think that
I think you have to, because that's what they're trying to.
you
That's what
have
they're
to.
saying.
That's the measure of success. But at the same time, like you have to be very careful with these types of things because DC Warner Brothers is looking at Marvel. These guys have Marvel. You know, they specialize in comic books. All these guys write, they read. They got Jeff Loeb. They got Joss Whedon. All these guys grew up in comic books, whereas all the people who are working behind the scenes at Warner Brothers, they don't. They probably could care less about comic books. They want money. They're like the people. They're like the corporate people at Nintendo who just
Well, it reminds me of two kids, and one kid keeps getting all the good stuff because they keep working hard, getting good grades, and they keep getting good stuff. And then you got the other kid that really wants to have what this other kid has, and it's just, whatever they try to do doesn't really seem to work out because they're not understanding 100% what it takes to get to that same plateau. Am I making that? Is that a good,
no,
fair?
yeah, you're right. It's really like with Warner Brothers. What kind of irks me is that they have the formula for success. They have these very successful comic books that have good stories and they're enveloping and has good character development, but they don't want to use them. They want to just jump ahead like 30 steps to, hey, yeah, we're going to make millions of dollars off this movie, but we can make it just pure garbage, but people will still go see it because it is a superhero movie. I think that is the problem. Whereas Marvel, these people love comic books. Their lives revolve around comic books, but Warner Brothers is so stuck on like being as successful as Marvel. They're not really doing any research as to why these are so successful. So I think Wonder Woman might be the first time that they actually get it right, but Suicide Squad won an Oscar, so I mean we can't say it's all bad, but
Please stop.
But yeah, so I mean the recipe for success is right there. They just got to learn how to kind of like what Fox did with the X-Men. It took them 12 years to get it right, and then they got that right by basically not having a hero for that franchise anymore. So
then they ruined it with Apocalypse.
Yeah, but yeah, that's another story for another time. But yeah, they need to not be greedy, I think, is the biggest problem with DC.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. So that's some great thoughts again from Josh. Josh, it's been so awesome again having you on co-hosting with me on this. It's great indeed to be part of the pop culture cosmos scene with you as far as doing this and dealing with Humanic and media and all the things that you do and all the books you're writing as far as the articles you're taking care of and all the stuff that you do. We really appreciate you taking the time again to sit down and chat with us as far as and keeping up to date, keeping everyone out there up to date on what the latest goings are on in pop culture. So that's something just truly appreciate your help in doing all this. I want to make sure everybody knows that publicly how much I appreciate you helping me take care of everything here in the big wide world, the big universe known as pop culture. So
hey, it's been a pleasure, man. I'm glad I could throw some planets out there into the old orbit,
Yeah, exactly, indeed. Because on Friday we've got the PCC multiverse, so that's even some more planets out there. Definitely going to have to throw some stuff out there, indeed, because that's always a handful right there in itself. But people can check that out every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, on the Podcast Radio Network and all of our download channels. So once again, we truly appreciate you listening out there. It's been so wonderful to be a part of your week here at the Podcast Radio Network and all of our great stations. It's another beautiful day in paradise here in the pop culture cosmos. For Josh Pederson, this is Gerald Glassford. We thank you so much for listening, and here's hoping you have yourselves a great day.